Well, a big chunk of the Qur'an is about its descriptions of the natural world, and Qur'an appeals human beings to look at the world around them and contemplate and reflect and investigate what there is. And there are literally hundreds of verses that does that. And one, for example, one verse would be chapter 3, verse 190. The Qur'an says, "In the way the heavens and earth are created, and in the way the night and day passes, there are signs for people with innermost understanding." Now, why does Qur'an do that? Why does Qur'an appeal to human reason and investigation of the universe? This is very significant, and I will explain this in 5 steps or 5 reasons. Number one, the Qur'an wants human beings to use their reason and the faculty and their mind and intelligence and understanding when we look at life, the natural world around us and the universe. The human reason is a God's gift to human beings, and it should not just remain unused. It is a very important aspect and the way that we can use our reason is through investigation, contemplation, and through study and science. So that's number one. And number two reason why Qur'an does that is to emphasize the gaining of knowledge, and particularly the knowledge of the natural world and the universe, because science and technology and human civilization largely depends on that. When we do a trajectory of human development and human civilization, it ties in parallel with our understanding of the natural world around us. So that's number two reason why Qur'an always appeals to human reason and why it asks us to look at the natural world around us. And number three, and this is now getting a little bit theological, Qur'an wants us to investigate and see the extraordinary in what is ordinary. Because this verse that I have just quoted is saying, look at how the heavens and earth are created, how night and day passes. To most of us, these are just ordinary occurrences. But really, there are extraordinary things are happening within that. And this is why Qur'an points to the word sign or the word ayah in these kind of verses. There are ayahs or signs for people who reflect. So for example, we plant a seed and it grows. It's very ordinary. But it is really extraordinary, come to think of it, from something that's lifeless, a seed or maybe a tiny seed, a fig seed for example, is very tiny, and from that comes a massive tree that is living and that produces countless fruits. That is extraordinary. How atoms arrange themselves to produce life is quite extraordinary. So we can give many examples, but this is why Qur'an is focusing our attention to the world and asking us to think about it. And fourthly, Qur'an wants us to look at the natural world and the universe because it is an objective source of knowledge. Just imagine for the moment that Qur'an is being revealed at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Mecca. The first audience of the Qur'an were unbelievers. They did not believe what Prophet was saying. They did not necessarily accept immediately the Qur'an's propositions of faith. So what Qur'an is saying and the God is saying is that, well, if you don't believe what Qur'an is saying or what I'm saying, well, look at the natural world around you and investigate and see that you will have an alignment with what we're saying. That God exists, God is one, Qur'an, there will be life after death, and so on. I'll cover all of these in future lectures. So basically, the universe and the natural world is an accessible source of knowledge to believers and disbelievers alike, and that it is an objective source of information. It's not coming from you as a believer or you as a disbeliever. It is out there, prepared for us to look and investigate and then we can argue our propositions of faith through what we know of the natural world. I think this is very important. And finally, fifth reason why Qur'an asks us to look at the natural world around us is which sort of sums up the previous 4 points, to make the point that our faith should not be a blind faith. It should be based on knowledge, reasoning, proof and evidence. And we can only do that if we investigate and look at the world around us. So these are the 5 reasons why Qur'an always appeals us, gives a depiction of the natural world and says there is signs in this for the human beings who think and reflect or who have an understanding. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you very much for listening.